And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Fate of the Elder Gods. Now this has a trio of designers, Richard Launius, Darrell Louder, and Chris Kirkman. It's a lot of designers on one game. And this is the wicked game of summoning supernatural evil for 1 to 4 players from Fabled Nexus, which is an offshoot of Greater Than Games. Now I have not played this as a solitaire game, although it's set up so that you can. But in this game, you are playing the opposite of Arkham Horror. In Arkham Horror, right, you're one of these investigators trying to stop the cultists from summoning Cthulhu. In this one, you are the cultist trying to get Cthulhu to come out, or whatever your elder god might be. It's a game of movement and special abilities. It's really kind of hard to pin down exactly what kind of game this is. Let's check it out. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to choose the elder god that they're going to use. So you're going to pick one of these guys here. This guy just grows. Giant spider, what is that all about? All right, and then you will take a larger player board. So let's say I'm playing Cthulhu, and you'll take a board that matches who you have. Now, you have this token here, and this is the elder sign track. If you manage to get this token all the way back to the beginning, then you have summoned your elder god. So in this case, you'd summon Cthulhu, and you'd win the game. Conversely, if you have these elder sign tokens placed here, and these are put around the track, when the track completely fills for one player, the game will also end, and whoever has the fewer elder signs will win the game. So you can win or lose in various ways. And in fact, if you see someone else is about to get filled up their track with elder signs, you may be very far here, but you still might not win if someone else has fewer elder signs than you. Now, the way players are going to be doing that is they're going to be using their cultists. This is your cultist lodge here. And you'll start with some cultists there, and you also start with some culters in the abyss here in the middle of the board, and then in different locations here. Now, this is a token here. There's 2 of these actually included with the game. If you play a 2-player solitaire game, you use 2, but most of the time you're going to use 1. Players are going to be doing a lot of things with this spell deck. Now, this spell deck has different spells in it, and they have different symbols on the back of them, and then the actual spells are on the other side. And you're going to start with a handful of 3 of these cards. And on your turn, you're going to pick the new location that this goes to. And you're going to pick that by playing a card that matches the symbol. So if I want to go over here to the ceremony, I would play a white card. And then I would leave that card here in the spot where he came from. So when you move Cthulhu around the board in different spots, you are going to be placing these cards. If you don't have a card of the type that you want to go to, you can always play 2 together and then go anywhere you want. And if you manage to get these cards, these are essentially wild cards, you can play these to go anywhere. The cards that you play, those stay at the location. When you go to the location, you will then place one of your cultists there, and you'll also place an investigator there. These investigators are gumming up your works, trying to cause problems. If you go to a spot where there are 3 or more investigators, then all the investigators there are going to come and visit your lodge, which is problematic. They're going to be investigating you. You then get to take an action at each of the places you go to, and if you have more cultists there than anyone else, you have the majority of the cultists that are there, then you also get an extra action. You can take that control action, it's called, also if you roll a die and get a specific symbol. That's kind of random, but you can guarantee that you'll get that better action if you have the most people there. So what do the different locations do? If you go to the other worlds, you get to roll a die. Now, I mentioned these dice already, but there are fate dice here in the game. And you'll roll one for each of your cultists there. And you're trying to roll the little Cthulhu symbol or the squid symbol. And for that, you get to move your summon track forward. That's the one that helps you win the game. And for each person you do it to, you have to sacrifice one of your cultists in the other worlds. So this is the main way kind of to win the game is in the other worlds. So you want to get cultists to this area, and then you sacrifice them to move up your summoning chamber. And when you summon them, they go to the abyss. However, if you control the area, if you roll these squid symbols, you also get to bring someone from the abyss to your lodge. So that's one thing. This is kind of one of the things about this game is trying to figure out the flow of the game. The other worlds is kind of one focus of that flow. This is a place that you want to go to, get your cultists there, sacrifice them to move up your summoning track. Also, there's the museum. You go to the museum and you can get different items. There's some face-up items here. You'll choose one of these and put it in your face-up area. You can only hold 3 of these, but if you control the area, you can discard these and draw new ones. But these are going to give you special abilities at different locations. Like here, when other cultist moves to the library, draw 2 spell cards. So these are kind of special things that you can do. Sometimes this one here, this symbol here means you exhaust it, you tap it, and sometimes this one here you destroy it when you use the lamp of Al-Hazred. And there's all sorts of different items: the scepter of the elders, the amulet of whoever, the runic chalk, which my kids draw, pictures in my front sidewalk with, the skull of lore, the enchanted cane, which you use when you're an old cultist. So that's what the museum does. The ceremony, which is where the fate token is now. I keep calling it Cthulhu, but technically it's a fate token. When you go to that area, then you can you add a gate card to your hand. And then you activate your special ability. So the gate cards are great because these are wilds. But then you activate your special ability that you have. See, each person has a special ability on there. Cthulhu has the stars are right. Move one of your cultists from the ceremony to any other location and destroy all the investigators or one cultist of each other cult at that location. So Cthulhu is a destructive person. And each of the different powers has something different. So the ceremony is going to be different based on the elder god that you are playing. Each of them is going to have something special and unique. And in fact, Ithaca has Wendigo and has these winter squall tokens that are specific for him. He'll draw 3 of them, look at them, and put them on locations. And whenever someone goes to that location, it might cause nothing, but it might also curse the person or give them 2 elder signs or whatever. So you have to be very cautious. He can set booby traps as he goes around. So the ceremony is where you're going to go activate your special power. The streets of Arkham, when you go there, you're going to get rid of investigators out of your lodge and maybe move them to other lodges. The gathering here, this is how you get cultists from the abyss back into your lodge. And then the library is where you can go to get more spell cards. Now, spell cards. They have spells on them, like I said. So this here has a gate to the past. If I want to use this spell, I need 2 blues and a white. So that has to be at a location that I'm at. So I might move to a location that has a bunch of cards at it just so I can prepare these spells. By preparing the spell, I'll take the spell and put it in one of my slots above my character. This does 2 things. That means I can cast a spell and use it anytime I want. It also gives me a discount on preparing future spells and things. So having this red here for a future spell will be cheaper. I can ignore one of the reds on here. The more colors that a spell uses will be how powerful it is. Like this one here, destroy an investigator from any location or lodge. I've destroyed one from someone else's lodge before just so they wouldn't have too many elder signs on them. Here, reveal when another cult takes an action that places at least 1 investigator in your lodge. That cult becomes cursed. Now, you've heard me talk about cursing already. Let me talk about these curse cards. Whenever you're cursed, you get a curse card and it's given to the person next to you, and that person watches this, and they say whenever the cursed cult readies a spell or uses an artifact, boom, you play this card. Or whenever they have 2 or more spells in reserve. Or when a cursed cult advances on their summon track, boom, you play this card. So whenever you're cursed, the other person's like watching you, waiting for you to do whatever that is so that you can get nailed with some negative thing. You can also be raided, which means when you have a certain 5 or more investigators here, or we run out of investigators put on the board, investigators will raid, they'll roll dice, and depending on the symbols that they roll, you're going to have more elder signs put on your track here. So this is going to continue on. Players will be placing the cards, moving the fate token around from a location to location, casting spells, until finally one player wins by either getting their summoning track all the way up to the end, or having the least elder signs when someone else busts out. Okay, so Cthulhu-esque. That definitely is full of the theme in this game. I mean, you have the different elder gods that you can be. The artwork here is really well done. Makes these guys look fearsome and horrible. Has plastic miniatures. The board looks cool. The whole thing has a strong smattering of the Cthulhu mythos in it. And it's more than just the pictures and artwork and the miniatures too. It's in the cards, it's the special abilities that the different characters have, it's the curse thing, it's the way the game plays. It does a good job at doing that. Like, for example, let's say they replaced all the investigators in this game with cubes and cultists and cubes. It would still work. And as you move the cubes and discarded the cubes, you'd be like, well, it feels like I'm sacrificing these cubes here. You are. And so the theme comes to life. I'm not sure this is a theme that you want to like write Mom about, because yay, Mom, by the way, today I summoned Cthulhu and destroyed the world. It does feel a little awkward sometimes, as you're all being quite horrifically bad here. And then you get really annoyed at these investigators who, when I play Arkham Horror, I am cheering for. Here, they're a real pain in the neck. Now, this game is a good game. I enjoy it. There's a lot to like here. There's a few minor quibbles I have with it. It's the slightest bit fiddly as you move things around. And I really love the curse cards, right? Because the curse cards are very similar to the cards from Dead of Winter, where you're waiting for someone to do something. So the curse cards is the same way. You're watching. However, that does require a little bit more attentiveness, as you're like, wait, what'd you do? Okay, you didn't do that. What'd you do? You didn't do that. Now, granted, the person whose curse is sitting there with teeth on edge, like, I'm going to add a cultist here. That's fine. I'm going to move my summoning track up 1. I'm fine? Okay. That's there and it's cool, but it just adds one more thing to the game. Also, the game has some really nice cards here. I didn't show these in the overview, that explain what all the different locations do and all the keywords. Really handy, right? So you can't complain about any of that. But I will say the first time you play this, you'll be a little overwhelmed, like, okay, what do I need to go here to get cultists, and then go here to discard them. I go here to move investigators. And so you have different various ways that you're moving everything all around the board, and trying to find that system, that machinery where, like, do this to do this to do this, can get a little confusing sometimes, and you'll be looking at these all the time at first. As time goes by, you'll get better at it. And I almost wish they had cut the majority thing. I get that. If you have majority of cultists, you get the special action, or you can roll a die and maybe get it randomly. But it just seemed like maybe one too many things at the locations. I would have just cut that completely. But it does add to the theming of it. And I especially like that the one place, I'm a big fan, like the ceremony, you go there and you get to do an action no one else has. And the actions all are extremely powerful and feel very like that's what that elder god would do. The movement is a nice mechanism. The cards, the spell cards themselves, you can only go to one, so you have a handful of 3 cards, and you're saying, oh man, I want to go there, but I don't have any cards that match that. I could spend 2 of the same, but I don't have 2 of the same, or I have 2, and I don't want to waste them to go there. So do I want to go there and take that action, or do I want to go there? I don't really care about that action, but there I can cast a spell that I want to cast. Or maybe I'm going to go there and take that action, which maybe isn't the best one for me now, but there's fewer investigators there. And you really got to watch the investigators in this game because they're piling up. I really wish, and this is probably the only thing I find slightly unthematic about, I guess you could explain it thematically away, but usually in Arkham it's like a few investigators against Cthulhu. Here there's like swarms of them. It's like, rah, and they're all coming in. Maybe they've called the police and they're showing up. I don't know. But overall, the game just shines with how it looks. Great component quality. It is great. It has some neat ideas to be able to move this piece around, and you go to different locations, kind of like, it's like almost in the genre of worker movement games. And as you go to these places, you're going there to either cast a spell or to take that action. And then you got to try to figure out the right machinery so that you can increase your summoning thing and keep the elder signs away if at all possible. And I like that. I like that you will sometimes save somebody else, because if they go bad, you're going to lose the game. I like the idea that when you get a spell, you might not want to cast it right away because it makes getting other spells easier for you to do. There's just a lot to like about this game, and it comes together in a very cohesive thematic package. There might be a little bit of rough edges around it. It might not play as smoothly as I wanted it to do, but I think a lot of people are really going to like this one. That is Fate of the Elder Gods. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Do, do.